When you're seeing screenwriters, is that the biggest mistake you see screenwriters make? Is applying this three-act structure? Because like you said, Raiders of the Lost Ark, to my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the Raiders of the Lost Ark is a 5-act show, or is it not? Because you could cut it up into 3.
That's my point. It's totally arbitrary. You're adding an outside division to the process. What I talk about in the anatomy of the story is a story process that is organic, which simply means I'm going to track a main character working through a plot to get a goal. And therefore, what is actually sequencing that story is the development of that character as they go from first wanting the goal to either accomplishing it or failing to get the goal. And what is the internal change that person goes through as they go through the process, the external process of a plot. And that means that every story that you write is going to be unique because it's going to be based on your unique main character, and nobody else has that character. And how you take that character, how you make them change. And so that's whereas with 3-act, we've just taken any old story and said, okay, we're going to divide it at this point and at this point. And now we've got 3 acts. Has nothing to do with the main character. It has nothing to do with the more complex plot sequence. Now, to get to your question, this problem with 3-act, it is the biggest problem that people have, only because it prevents them from understanding how to solve the real problem. And the real problem that, and I base this on years of experience and thousands of writers, the real problem that writers have in terms of working professionally is they don't know how to construct a plot. Plot is the game, because we're talking about popular storytelling. And what drives popular storytelling in every medium, including screenwriting, is the ability to come up with a surprising plot that people have not seen before. Now think about how hard that is, especially when you have people doing things like Hero's Journey and so on, which are hitting the same beats every single time. How are you going to come up with something that they haven't seen before? In fact, that's the biggest problem with Hero's Journey. I mentioned that it only applies to myth, but the other problem is that we've seen it so many times that everybody knows what's going to happen. It's boring.
Right.
So it comes down to this problem with plot. And why do I say it? Anybody who's been writing for any length of time knows the importance of a strong main character. Okay? So they study, they work hard to try to come up with and understand how you create a good main character. They know the importance of good dialogue, okay, which you do at the end of the process. And where they run into the problem is that when they think about, okay, now it comes time for me to create the plot. Well, they don't know how to do that. And there's no book that tells them how to do that. And so they think, well, I'll just figure it out as I go. And guess what? It doesn't work that way. You are not going to figure it out as you go. What is going to happen 99% of the time is that you start down this path of the plot. You're going to get about 15 or 20 pages in. You're going to run yourself into a dead end, and you're going to stop. You're going to run into writer's block. And you're going to think, well, this is some kind of psychological problem I'm having. No, it's not a problem of psychology. It's a problem of your plot. You don't know what the story is going to do here. And because you didn't think of it from the beginning as an entire plot sequence, you're not going to be able to get out of this problem. And so what I've been really pushing the last few years, all of the work, the new work that I've been doing, is all about how do you create plot? How do you explain to people how to create plot? Because it's very complicated. And especially, how do you create plot that gives your story maximum narrative drive? Because that's what the studios want. Studios care about three things when they get your script: narrative drive, and narrative drive. That's it. because that's what sells to a worldwide audience.
Right.
And that's something like Raiders of the Lost Ark. What does it have? It has fantastic narrative drive. It also has a great character. It has some fun scenes, some fun dialogue. There's some great fantasy in there and so on and so forth. But what's really making that thing work? It's fantastic narrative drive. That is the definition of popular storytelling. And so that's where I've been doing all my work and trying to get writers to focus on, to understand if you want to succeed at the highest levels, you've got to become a master of plot. You'll get the character. You'll get the dialogue. If you write a good plot with a strong main character, the dialogue practically writes itself. People don't think I'm crazy when I say that, but it's absolutely true, because then you're not asking the dialogue to do what it can't do. You're not asking the dialogue to structure the story, which a lot of people do. Right. So that's why I push so hard on this, on creating plot, learning how to create plot, especially plot with intense narrative drive. And that's, by the way, we're going to talk later about the story rescue worksheet that I have for people. That's what that's all about too. It's just, these are techniques to give you maximum narrative drive in your script.